Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Progressive Vibe. I'm your host, Dottie. Today is July 11th, 2021. This is Season 4, Episode 10. And the title of this episode, Homelessness in the U.S. So in today's episode, we will be discussing the sad and preventable reality known as homelessness in the United States. We will be getting to an article published by the New York Times that reads "Homelessness in the U.S. Rose for fourth straight year," report says. So we will be getting into that. You guys don't want to miss that. I feel like it's going to provide a lot of context on the state that the country is in when it comes to the sad but preventable reality known as homelessness. It's a big deal. It's always been a big deal, and unfortunately it has gotten worse, especially after the pandemic known as the coronavirus. But first things first, guys, I wanted to check in with the listeners. I would hope everyone had a good holiday weekend. We didn't have a new episode last week because of the holidays, so we're back this Sunday with a brand new episode, and we're going to have one more episode next week before we close out the season. I really want to get the podcast on YouTube. So I had a help from a friend of mine. Shout out to my guy for helping me out with that. So we're hopefully going to have the Progressive Vibe up and running on YouTube in the next season. So I just wanted to relay that to the listeners out there. I mentioned it in previous episodes, and it's been a work in progress. So I just thank you guys for bearing with me through all of this as we continue to progress forward. Also, I wanted to thank the listeners who like, share, and donate to the show. However you show your support, guys, it is greatly appreciated. By sharing the podcast on social media, it is the most effective way to get the message out, get the word out. And again, it's all totally free. So I do want to, again, thank the listeners out there. And before we start today's show, I wanted to go over a few notes that I had to share for you guys. So as you know, the Progressive Vibe has a website, and the website is a work in progress. Whoever has checked the website out, I really do appreciate it. It's pretty simple, but it's definitely insightful. So we have a website. It's the Progressive Vibe 184-970-366.wordpress.com. That is one of the sponsors in today's podcast, wordpress.com. So if you like to make your own website for a podcast that you have, or you want to create a blog, wordpress.com is the place to do it. And also, this podcast is sponsored by Anchor. Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. So if you guys have any listeners out there that's been wanting to make a podcast, trust me when I say Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. If you want to learn more to how to get started to make your own podcast, go to anchor.fm.com to learn more to get started. And last but not least, guys, if you have something you want me to discuss on the podcast, you can use the hashtag TPVibe. That's TPVIBE on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. That's where I'm usually at. My Twitter handle is Dottie_Vibe. That's DODI_VIBE. You can get in touch with the show through that way. Or if you want to send a message in the contact form on the show's website that I just gave you momentarily, you can go there to do that also. If you want to stay in touch with the show, you can enter your email address in the Stay in Touch box on the podcast website. Again, the podcast website is The Progressive Vibe 184-970-366.wordpress.com, and that's to get every new episode that I make delivered straight to your inbox. And last but not least, before we start today's show, guys, if you want to help us make the show and sustain future episodes, become a monthly supporter. I'm so fortunate to have a few listeners who are already supporters of the show. Thank you. That does help us sustain future episodes and make the show, as I just said. If you want to become a monthly supporter, you can go to the show's website. I'm going to say that one more time. The Progressive Vibe 184-970-366.wordpress.com. Or if you want to make a one-time contribution with whatever amount that you like to make, all of it is greatly appreciated, obviously. You can do this on the show's Cash App. The show's Cash App tag is Dottie D92. That's DAHDEE 92. And on that note, guys, I really appreciate you guys for continuing to listen as you do every week. I love you guys. It wouldn't be a show without the listeners. On that note, let's get into today's show. So I want to give you guys context into what we will be getting into with my analysis in the second half, but I do want to read you guys this article. I will be posting it along with the episode, so you can read it amongst yourselves if you like. This is an article out of the New York Times, and it reads, "Homelessness in U.S. Rose for fourth straight year," report says. It says a new report almost certainly underestimates the spread, depth, and urgency of the crisis, given that the data doesn't yet reflect the pandemic, federal officials warned. Goes on to say, this was published March 18th, 2021, by the way, and it was updated April 5th, 2021. So it is July, so it has been a couple of months since this was published and updated. But nonetheless, it has things in it that I think you guys would find interesting. So it goes on to say, Washington, homelessness in the United States rose for the fourth straight year, with about 580,000 people living on the streets or in temporary shelter at the start of 2020, according to an annual nationwide survey that was completed before the pandemic. But the report, which was released on Thursday, almost certainly underestimates the spread, depth, and urgency of the crisis, and not by a little, federal officials warned. The report showed a 2.2% increase in the homelessness from the previous year, but that doesn't reflect the displacement of people who lost work as a result of the sharp downward caused by the coronavirus. Quote, "I can't give you the numbers on how much homelessness has increased during the pandemic, but we know it has increased," end quote. Marcia L. Fudge, who was confirmed last week as President Biden's Secretary of Housing and Urban Development said during a briefing at the White House. Again, this was published months ago, so Miss Marsha L. Fudge, who is the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, she has pretty much been confirmed since this article was produced. It goes on to read, guys. She called the situation, quote, devastating and said the country had a, quote, moral responsibility to address both long term homelessness and hardships spurred by the coronavirus. HUD officials say the effect of on homelessness might not be known for years. Nationwide moratoriums on evictions, which have been in place since last spring and are scheduled to expire this year, have slowed the pace of displacement. Although a government accountability office report released this week showed the programs were not universally effective. Miss Fudge, a former Democratic congresswoman from Ohio, set an ambitious goal during her briefing to reduce the number of homelessness people by 130,000 using additional resources provided to her department under Mr. Biden's $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief bill. The package included $21.55 billion for emergency rental assistance, $5 billion in emergency housing vouchers for families displaced by the pandemic's economic fallout, $5 billion for homelessness assistance, and $850 million for tribal and rural housing. But Ms. Fudge, known for her outspoken views on race and poverty, said that funding, while welcome, was a fraction of what was needed to address the crisis once and for all. Asked how much was needed, she replied, 70 to $100 billion, roughly doubled the department's annual budget for all its programs. She did not mince words when she did not miss words asked about the state of her agency, which suffered an exodious amount. I'm sorry, guys, an exodius under her predecessor, Ben Carlson. She said, "We are thousands of people short of where we ought to be," said Miss Fudge, who described the department's remaining career employees as under-resourced, understaffed, and overworked. Even before the pandemic, homelessness was reemerging as a major national problem, especially in big cities. The country's biggest cities, New York and Los Angeles, account for a quarter of all homelessness people counted in the 2020 survey. The annual snapshot count taken on a single night in January 2020 signaled worrying trends. For the first time in years, homelessness among veterans and families, two groups targeted by the federal housing efforts, did not improve. Homelessness affects Black and Latino communities with disproportionate force. About 40% of people who counted were Black, compared with the 13% representation in the population, and nearly a quarter of homeless people self-identified as Latino, a group that makes up about 18% of all Americans. The number of people living on the street, the most visible reminder of a crisis that also plays out in shelters and among, quote, couch people forced to move in with family or friends, is also rising. Bear with me, guys. Just a little bit more. It goes on to say, for the first time since the nationwide survey of homelessness was released in February 2007, the number of single adults living on the street 209,000 was greater than the number of people counted in shelters, which was around 199,500. One out of six homeless people, about 106,000, were under the age of 18. That's so sad. A majority live in shelters, but 11,000 live at least part of their time outside without shelter, the report found. Despite federal state efforts to halt evictions, advocacy groups have reported an increase in the number of families facing eviction and foreclosure of economic insecurity dire enough to endanger their housing. Nearly two-thirds of 280 renters of homeowners interviewed in the Southward neighborhood of Newark reported not being able to pay their rent or mortgage in full on time between August and September 2020. The survey, conducted by Child Trends, a research organization based in Bethesda, if I sorry if I botched that. I think it's pronounced Bethesda, Maryland, that analyzes national and local data on child well-being, reported that 27% of the people interviewed had to move at least once during the pandemic. The last quote of this, guys, it says the majority of renters in the Southward were not able to pay their rent or mortgage on time. We anticipate the situation, especially among Black families, worsened during the pandemic, end quote, said Sarah Shaw, a research scientist with the group who worked on the report. And at the bottom, it has correction. This was as of March 19th, 2021. It says an earlier version of this article referred incorrectly to data supplied by Child Trends, a research organization based in Bethesda, Maryland. It was analyzed last month. Renters and homeowners were not interviewed last month. Oh, okay, okay. So the study itself is correct, but the version of the article that supplied that data by Child Trends, that was discussing the analyzed data for renters and homeowners, were not interviewed last month. It was interviewed months prior. So that was the only correction that they had in this article. But the numbers are staggering. The amount of people is just under the age um, of 18 is just sad, because these are people who aren't even adults yet, that are still kids, that are forced to um, live out on the streets. And along with, numerous of other aspects, veterans and, families. It's a very, very harsh, sad reality. And it's very, very, as I said, preventable. Um, we just, as a country, don't take the necessary steps that needs to be taken in addressing these issues, because we don't give it enough time. And it's very, very heartbreaking to see so many people not having a roof over their heads, especially with us going through this, us going through climate change, and knowing that the extreme temperatures, especially depending on where you live, which is virtually everywhere now. I mean, if you're living in the north, you're going to be met with a harsh reality of brutal, winters. If you're in the South where I'm at, you're going to be, hit with the brutality of humidity and heat waves, along with the West Coast. It's just you can't run from it, and it's tends to get worse, meaning homelessness, when you really look into the big cities like Los Angeles, like New York City, where the living conditions are very, very expensive. Thus, we know how the working wage in this country is pathetic. And so if you have people who are just trying to get by and try to make some of their lives, not rich people is what I'm saying. People who are just barely making ends meet and are from these big cities, and they have resorted to being forced out on the street because they don't have enough money to sustain their well-being, which it is not any fault of their own. It's a part of the system that we currently live under that needs to be, in a way, reformed and changed entirely. But on that note, guys, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back with our social media break. And after that, we're going to have the second half of the show where I uh, dive a little bit more into my analysis on the homelessness in the United States. We will be right back, guys. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome to the social media break. I hope you do enjoy. Before we read some social media posts, I would like to read one of my new listeners' message they sent to me. It honestly meant the world, so I do want to share it. So it says, so I went back and started with your new season on January 6th with the riots at the Capitol. It was nice to listen to. You have a great voice for this. I'll keep listening for sure. And I started following you on Twitter. I wish you all the best, my young friend. I want to tell that listener, thank you for the kind words. Thank you to all the listeners. Again, I can't thank you guys enough because surprisingly, it's a good amount of people listen to this podcast. And every time I just look at the viewers, the viewer count, that listen to the show, it's just like I'm honestly lost for words every time I look at that, because not only do I have a great listener base in the United States, I also have some love internationally too. It's just amazing, and I want to thank that listener for the kind words. Now, again, I want to also thank all the listeners in the U.S., internationally, and I mean, I wouldn't be able to do it without you guys, and I'm glad that great minds think alike. So it's awesome to have people who appreciate your perspective on the things that's happening in the world, in your country, and want to find solutions to make life easier and better for not just one class of folks, but everyone. And so it makes me, it just, It makes me happy, and it makes me want to continue the good fight. So I appreciate all of you guys. So let's get on to this. Let's get into this this Twitter, shall we? Let's see. So first post is by Nina Turner on Twitter. She says, "Let's tax the rich, invest in the American people in the second Gilded Age." I totally agree. Karshma Mehta says on Twitter, "Made it to 30 despite capitalism. Please clap." Clap into the mic real quick. Happy birthday. And also, yes, despite the capitalism and America, you made it to 30. So happy 30th birthday. Let's keep. Anthony V. Clark says on Twitter, "More billionaires have greater access to space than many working class do to grocery stores." If that's not a hot take, I don't know what is. And a need Gerd, I'm not even gonna try to say this gentleman's last name because I am definitely going to mess it up. But his Twitter handle is a need rights, ANED, ANED rights. He says, "One important takeaway from billionaires going to space is that we should have a wealth tax now." And Nina Turner replied at the bottom, "You know." So true, so true. That's going to do it for the social media break, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed what you heard. When we come back, we're going to have the second half of the show. Stay tuned. Hey guys, we're back with the second half of the show. So I want to give you guys the remaining analysis on my thoughts about homelessness in the U.S. And, you know, I know it's a nationwide thing. I mean, you have homelessness all across the world, and it's a world issue. It's a humanity issue. You know, but I live in the United States, so I feel like I have the obligation to talk about the country where I stay. And, you know, it impacts me, even though, fortunately, I'm able to have a roof over my head and a job, and my family is able to have a roof over their heads. But we can't get lost. We can't get lost in so caught up into what we have going on, to where we don't realize that it's a lot of people out there that has it worse than us. And instead of us always, you know, having this notion of, well, you know, maybe you should work a little harder and you'll be able to provide for yourself, or, uh, you know, people who are, I hadn't heard this before, you know, a lot of people who are homeless, they just want to take the easy way out and ask for money from somebody else. Like, that makes absolutely no sense. I mean, yeah, they're homeless. They're maybe they have kids. Even if they don't, they have to eat. They have to, um, you know, get get water, get nutrition. I mean, um, and, you know, thinking that somebody's looking for a handout because of unfortunate circumstances that has transpired through their lives, you can't hold somebody in contempt. We as a country should help people up who need a helping hand. We always promote and tout that the U.S. and it is, but the U.S. is the most wealthiest country in the world. It's just so frustrating that people use that in situations that they want to use it in to I don't know, to be able to get whatever they are looking for out of something. And when I say that, I mean, politicians always say, we live in the wealthiest country in the world, and we should do this, we should do that, and it's always curtailing around uh, military usage. It's always curtailing around endless wars, and it's just I wish we can channel our energy and curtail it towards things that will help people in our country out, like the basic necessities in life. But instead, we use them as props, and we like to state these things, but we don't like to address them. And it's sad to see so many people or families, kids under the age of 18, on the streets, and or either spending majority of their time on the street. Um, we as a country just has have to do better. And on the veteran homeless rates, they're pathetic as well. We as a country, we always like to tout and give recognition to the veterans who served and fought for this country, died for this country, and which we should tout and we should pay recognition to. But when it comes to addressing the underlying issues that needs to be addressed, we just continue to turn a blind eye to it, and it it really shouldn't be that way. Um, we should encourage people to, yes, make a better life for themselves, but we should also have things laid in foundation to these people, provide access to these people who needs the type of help that can get them out of that desperate spot that they're in, which is asking or begging for money or food or water or a roof over their heads. And again, we have to contemplate all these things. We have to know that climate change, as I addressed in my previous episode, check it out if you haven't already. That it is an existential threat to mankind, and I can't imagine me being as hot natured as I am. I don't know if you any of my listeners ever heard of being hot natured, but um, it's uh, it's it's the situation where it doesn't take a lot for you to become hot and sweaty, and that's me. I mean, I always like to have a fan going, or I like to have the air on, to at least 68. I like to sleep with a ceiling fan on, my ceiling fan on. I like to be comfortable. Well, this is like the basic things, um, you know, that I like to have out of, my apartment. But it's so many people out there that don't even have the choice to set their thermostat the way they want to set it, or turn a fan on, or have a ceiling fan, or being able to even lay down in their own bed. A lot of these people out here, unfortunately, are um, forced to be out on the streets, and it's just numerous of things of what led to that. Maybe they couldn't afford, maybe they couldn't afford a roof over their heads. Maybe they got laid off their job, and it's been so many layoffs. Obviously, post pandemic, uh, pre pandemic, during the pandemic, and post pandemic, it's been layoffs happening at a um, high rate as the years progressed, throughout these last 4 years, as that article that I read to you guys stated. And it's only getting worse. And I just, seeing the type of leadership, and I don't want to say leadership because it's lacking in Washington D.C., but the leadership that we have in Washington D.C., um, the politicians who we send to um, do the task of the American people, we can just see them underperforming every single election cycle. And we have to be conscious as voters, just as humans, that we have to keep tabs on what our lawmakers are doing um, in Congress, and the bills that they're producing, the provisions that they're writing, the legislations that they're bringing to the table. We have to make sure that they are being mindful of the disparities that a lot of people are going through, not just Black people, not just Latino people, even though it is disproportionately hurting them more. But we have to be mindful of, this is the United States of America. You know, we have to be mindful of everyone. It's not just those groups. It's also white people too. It's also Asian people too. I mean, it's just not one race of people that is suffering from homelessness in the U.S. and throughout the world. And we have to be conscious, guys, of um, of actually having it where everyone can potentially live the American dream that so many people want to have, and it's being taken away from them, um, taken away from us in ways that can be avoided. But we have to put the time in. We have to put the research in, and again, do our research, do our background checks on these politicians, make sure that they aren't bought off by um, corporate lobbyists, which a lot of them are, Democrats and Republicans. We have to, again, hold their feet to the fire. And one thing that they can do, one thing that America can at least do, is make it to where we deplenish homelessness in the United States for Black people, for white people, for Latino descent, Asian descent, whoever. If you're a United States citizen, you should be treated as an American citizen. You should have the opportunity, like anyone else does in this country. And you know, I just hope that one of these things, like homelessness, as we progress through the 20th century, that these type of stories begin to become less and less frequent, because I feel like if everyone is, you know, provided a opportunity, a fair shot, a fair opportunity in life to live in the United States, I feel like we would see the world progress the way it should progress. But if we don't, if we continue to turn a blind eye to these disasters that's taking place, not addressing climate change, not addressing homelessness, not addressing the lack of healthcare accessibility to people in the United States, the lack of uh, the lack of bringing a livable wage to people's livelihoods so they can be able to feed their families, fend for themselves, take vacations if they want, just, again, live that American dream that, it shouldn't be as hard as it is, uh, especially in the 21st century. So that's all I got as my takeaway into the homelessness in the United States. It's a sad sight, guys, and we as a country, we as a world have to do better. And that's why I wanted to bring you guys this particular article for this episode, because we haven't addressed homelessness in any of my previous episodes, and it is a big topic, and it is an important topic to me, and I'm sure it's an important topic to the listeners. So on that note, guys, we're going to come back and we're going to close the show. I will post this article again, as I said, along with the episode, so you guys can check this out. It has surveys and statistics and data boards or data charts that you guys can see the high rates of homelessness in the United States. It's pretty devastating and pretty sad to see. Um, when we come back, guys, we're going to close the show out. Stay tuned. Hey guys, that's gonna do it for today's show. I hope everyone enjoyed today's episode. Really important stuff, guys. Really important things we have to keep in mind when we're having a down day or we're going through some things. We have to always keep in mind that it is people out there that are definitely in worse situations than I can only speak for myself that I am. There are obviously things that I want addressed to help me out, help my family out, help our living conditions out a lot more in regards of the system that we live under now. I feel like it is old and outdated, and it needs to be changed, at least reformed to once again start working for the American people. The U.S. system starts being beneficial instead of the other way around to everyday Americans, not just a certain criteria of people in class, because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. It comes down to class. It comes down to class. If you're rich, you tend to have certain privileges that ordinary working people or even homeless people obviously catches the worst of it. But everybody who isn't a part of the 5-10% tend to get the short end of the stick. So we have to keep that in mind, and we have to keep fighting the good fight and change our system to make it more beneficial to, again, everyday Americans. So I just wanted to leave you guys with that. And I also want to once again reiterate what I mentioned in the intro. Thank you to the listeners for liking, sharing, and donating to the show. However you choose to participate in that, it is greatly appreciated. Share the show, please, guys, because that is the most effective way to get the word out. And again, it's totally free. Everybody pretty much has some sort of social media platform that they partake in. So please just get the word out for me. And I will once again say that we have a show next Sunday. It is going to be the last episode of the season, and then we're going to reset and recalibrate things, and hopefully give you guys a even better show than this season. So also, let me go ahead and do the notes that I gave you guys in the intro. So again, guys, if you have something you want me to discuss on the podcast, use the hashtag TPVibe on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is Dottie_Vibe. That's DODI_VIBE. Or you can send a message from the contact form on the show's website. If you want to stay in touch with the show, you can enter your email address in the stay in touch box on the show's website to get every new episode delivered to your inbox. And also, if you want to help us make the show and sustain future episodes, become a monthly supporter on the show's website. You can do all of this on the show's website, theprogressivevibe1849703666.wordpress.com. Again, that's theprogressivevibe1849703666.wordpress.com. Or if you want to make a one-time contribution to the show, you can Cash App the show. The show's Cash App tag is DOTTIE92. That's DAHDEE92. This show is sponsored by WordPress.com. If you want to help turn your blog or if you want to help turn your podcast into a blog, go to WordPress.com to learn more to get started on that. And also, this podcast is sponsored by Anchor.fm. Anchor.fm is the easiest way to make a podcast. If you would like to make your own podcast, to learn more, go to Anchor.fm to learn more to get started. Love you guys. Always a pleasure. We will see you next Sunday. Until then, stay positive, stay progressive, and we will catch you guys in the next one.